What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is, Patriots Global or Colby. I know some of you guys have commented saying, you know what, Patriots Global? I actually don't know who it is. So it is Colby for those of you who don't actually know my real name. And today we are back with another video. I first off want to say I want to thank everyone who has been so patient with me over about the last week or two. I've had final after final after final for one of my broadcasting classes, and it had to put the channel off for just a minute so that I can get a degree. But without further ado, we are back and we have so much to hit on. And today we are going to be talking about how the New England Patriots are placing the transitional tag on pending free agent safety Kyle Dugger. Now, a lot of you don't necessarily know the difference between the transitional tag and the franchise tag. Not the same thing, two very different things. And we're going to talk about what that is and what the future is looking like for the Patriots, but also Kyle Dugger. So let's hop into today's video. So essentially what the transitional tag is going to be is, the way I see it, it is one step below what the franchise tag is going to be. The Patriots will have an opportunity to match any offer that Kyle Dugger will get in free agency. So with that being said, Kyle Dugger is still technically set to hit free agency. If a team wants to sign him, they will be able to offer him a contract, but New England will be able to match any contract that he has matched. And for if some odd reason Kyle Dugger is not offered a contract in free agency, then he will be paid as a top 10 player at his position. When it comes to the franchise tag, you get paid as a top 5 player at your position. Now, this is going to be a little bit different from the franchise tag too, because really for the most part with a franchise tag, unless you're going to tag and trade, that player is signed on a 1-year contract, again, making top 5 money at their position. Again, with Kyle Dugger being on the transitional tag, he is still technically set to hit free agency and teams can still talk to him. Unlike where, let's say with the Kansas City Chiefs, who just tagged Ladarius Sneed, the cornerback, he's not a free agent in any way, shape, or form. Teams are not going to be able to talk to him about a contract because he's technically signed under a 1-year contract with the franchise tag. And I know a lot of you guys are going to ask, what is the cap number going to be for Kyle Dugger on this transitional tag? So as long as he does play for New England next year, that tag is going to be just over $13 million, which is just around kind of the mark that I thought that he would get if the Patriots signed him to a contract extension. The number he would have gotten on a franchise tag made absolutely no sense. Now, if you get an extension done with Dugger, I do expect that he would probably make upwards of like 16, maybe even $17 million per year. So this is a little bit of a discount, but not by much. I know that a lot of you guys, when we talked about Kyle Dugger, felt, you know what, I'll pay him maybe $15 million max, nothing above, but anything below, I'm definitely willing to do. So that's about what his contract or what his number would be for next season against the cap. In terms of what does this mean for the Patriots' current cap situation, they were at about $101 million. They're now going to be, according to Miguel from Pat's Cap, they're going to be at about $87.6 million after this move, which is about a $12.9 million decrease from what it was before. Now, ultimately, we do know, based off of rumors that came out even before they tagged Kyle Dugger, was that there's 2 players they are actively trying to get an extension done with. That is Kyle Dugger and Michael Onwenu. Now, I will say, too, just because they didn't place the franchise tag on Kyle Dugger doesn't mean that they can now place the franchise tag on Michael Onwenu. You are allowed to use one of these tags, the transitional tag, the franchise tag, and the Patriots decided to use the transitional tag here, meaning that Michael Onwenu and every single one of their other free agents is not going to be able to be tagged, and unless they get a contract extension done with them, then they are going to be hit the open market. So to me, this tells me one of 2 things. One, they viewed Kyle Dugger as more of a priority than Michael Onwenu, or they are just more confident that they'll be able to get Michael Onwenu back rather than their ability to get Kyle. And a lot of times too, when players get signed to either the transitional tag or the franchise tag, It's really to just extend the period of time in which you can try to get an extension done with that player. So maybe they're closer to contract extensions with Michael Onwenu, or maybe they're just fine with him leaving. And maybe they're just farther away than they would have liked to be, with free agency starting in just about a week. And with Kyle Duggar, they said, we can't let you hit the open market. We know that you'll probably end up leaving. So we're going to place the tag on you as a bit of a little bit more of insurance to be able to continue negotiations to try to get you back here next year. Now, knowing that the Patriots want to get an extension done with Duggar still to keep him here in New England long term, I think we have to look at the contracts that he could potentially get. What's the number that he could potentially get? And so I know I showed you guys this before, but I'm going to pull it up again. And there's one more reference that I'm going to add to this. But Kyle Duggar is expected to have a market value of about $16.5 million. Again, right now, he signed on that transitional tag to just over $13 million. The way they look at it is that he should get a 4-year contract worth about $66.3 million, and then averaging that $16.5 million per year. You look at safeties who are in a very similar aspect to where Kyle Duggar was, who got extensions with their respective teams or just signed massive contracts with other teams. Derwin James signed a 4-year deal worth about $19.1 million per year. Minkah Fitzpatrick signed a 4-year deal worth about $18 million per year. Jesse Bates signed a 4-year, $16 million per year. Marcus Williams signed a 5-year, $14 million per year deal. What you also have to keep in mind, though, is the fact that Kyle Duggar is just now coming off of his rookie deal, and he is already 27 years old. He is going to be, by the end of March, 28 years old, which is something that none of these other guys that signed these big, massive, lucrative deals had to go through. They were all 25 years old or younger. And I really do believe that that is an issue that the Patriots front office and Kyle Duggar's agents are dealing with, is that he probably feels he's worth a certain amount of money, and the Patriots say, well, because of your age, we feel that you are worth this amount of length for this amount of money. Now, the other way that I would also look at this in terms of a comparison is Tampa Bay Buccaneers free safety Anton Winfield, who just signed, or is expected to sign rather, this big contract to keep him off of the free agency market. He is expected to sign about a 3 to 4 year contract worth about $20 million per year, which is absolutely absurd for the safety market and is going to really help reset it. He is also one of the best safeties in the game. I think that he is like a top 3 safety in this game at his respective position. I can't say the same thing about Kyle Duggar. Winfield is also 25 years old. Again, when you're a 25-year-old safety, you are going to get a more lucrative contract because you have significantly more time to play. As for Kyle Duggar, by the time that next season starts, he's going to be 28 years old. We also know that with a lot of players, you kind of reach this 30-year mark when you're 30 years old, and you kind of just reach this hill and you start declining and declining and declining. I don't necessarily think that safety is one of those things where as soon as you hit 30, you start to decline, but I don't necessarily want to play with fire on that one. I'm not going to give personally Kyle Duggar a 4-year contract to where when that 4-year contract is up, he's going to be 32. I'm giving him somewhere between a 2 to 3 year contract, see where he is at that 30, 31 year mark, and then kind of go from there. I also personally want to see if the Patriots can get back a 2022 version of Kyle Duggar and not a 2023 version. He was still a very good safety last year for the Patriots and one of their key players. But at the same time, too, he took a big step back from where he was in that prior year in 2022. Now, I will say a big part of that was because of the way that he was utilized. The Patriots kind of made him more of a rover rather than continuously putting him where he had played for like the last 2 seasons and played very, very well. So being more of a box safety, played against tight ends, played a little bit of hybrid linebacker. This past season, they asked him to do some of that same thing, but they also asked him to play a lot of free safety in Devin McCourty's old role, which he clearly just isn't meant to do at the NFL level. And if you're Kyle Duggar, you're going to be trying to really push the narrative that you were not put in a real position to succeed in 2023, and that the player you are and the player you can be, if put in the position to succeed, is that 2021, 2022 version of you where he did play as like easily a top 5 safety. Now, if we look at his numbers over the last couple seasons here, starting with this past season in 2023, he put up an overall PFF grade of 61.7, a run defensive grade of 79.6, a pass rush grade of 66.5, but a really bad coverage grade, which is the worst he's put up at his NFL career so far, of an even 50. The one thing I will say about Duggar is that the most consistent part to his game over his 4-year career with New England has been his ability in defending the run. His ability at defending the run has made him a top 3 safety in the game, if not the best safety in terms of defending the run. And we know that New England wants their secondary, especially their safeties, to be able to rush the passer a little bit, to be able to stop the run and be that kind of secondary defense after the defensive line to be able to stop the run. This past year, he was able to put up 79 solo tackles, 24 assisted, putting up over 100 total tackles, 1 forced fumble, 27 total stops, 2 sacks, 11 missed tackles, 2 interceptions, an 88.5 passer rating allowed when he was targeted, and 9.9 yards per reception. He wasn't a terrible safety. I want to make that very, very clear. But in terms of standards for Kyle Duggar, he definitely took a step back. We look at 2022, which was his real breakout season, in which we kind of expected that Kyle Duggar could be an extension candidate that offseason. Obviously, that didn't happen, but put up an overall grade of 78.4, a run defensive grade, another great year, of 76.7, a pass rush grade of 61.5, and a coverage grade of 78.3. 78.3. That is a massive, massive difference from one year to another, of a 78.3 all the way down to a 50 in coverage. Again, coming back to the point that they have to put him in the position to succeed. That year, he put up 50 solo tackles, 17 assisted. Keep in mind, he didn't play a full season this year either. 1 forced fumble, 25 total stops, 1 sack, 9 missed tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 of which were pick sixes, a 98.4 passer rating allowed when targeted, and 10.1 yards per reception. He really was a snub for like first team, second team All-Pro, not to mention a Pro Bowl snub this year also. You even look at his numbers in 2021, from 2021 to 2022 was very, very consistent. Run defensive grade that year, not all that great, but the Patriots defense kind of after the bye week in 2021 just all dropped off significantly. But 71.8 grade in 2021, run defensive grade of 60.3, pass rush grade of 75.1, and a coverage grade of 75.7. Again, the Kyle Duggar that we saw last year is not the Kyle Duggar that we saw develop from 2020 to 2021 and 2022, which I think is going to be his case when trying to get a new contract. But this is where I'm going to kick it off to you guys. What do you think is going to happen with Kyle Duggar? Do you want to see Kyle Duggar back? And do you think that he plays this year with a different team on the transitional tag? Or do you think they're able to get a contract extension done with him? Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below. I would say it's pretty unlikely that Kyle Duggar does play somewhere else, at least for this upcoming 2024 season. Whether he plays under the transitional tag or whether he gets an extension, I think that's just something we kind of have to wait and see. But it wouldn't shock me if other teams do have interest in Duggar, with guys like Winfield now being off of the market. And really a lot of top free agents being off of the market. You guys let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video. And of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I appreciate you guys so much for watching as always. But most importantly, never forget, go Pats.